exactly happened to Green Day's 1972 EP? Green Day were in the recording studio in December of 2021 and were reported to be recording 6 songs in an EP called 1972. But then, 2 years and 1 month went by, we got Saviors. What happened, and what were the 6 songs that were to appear on this ill-fated 1972 EP? We know for certain that some of the songs on Saviors were in fact from the 1972 sessions, from the teasers that we got early on in 2021 and 2022. So for certain, we got Look Ma No Brains, Fancy Sauce, Coma City, and Living in the 20s being part of the earliest drafts of this project, the original 1972 EP. And after ingesting so many album reviews and interviews with the band, it seems likely that Saviors in 1981 were part of the earliest project recordings as well, with Saviors being written about a certain contagion out there, putting it in the early process of the writing and recording. And 1981 fits in with Billy's earliest sound ideas for their next album or project being a straight-ahead punk rock album, a pop-punk blast in the face, if you will. So 1972 would have had a blue cover, I think, and had a track list like this, or like this, whichever side I put it on. Mirror cameras be hard, bro. I'm thinking over that way, right? This is a brisk 16 minute and 46 seconds of punk rock. But who listens to EPs anymore? I'm listening to every song ever, and I barely encounter these in the wild. Don't go cracking up, people. Green Day and the world were having problems. Bowie died, the insanity of living in the 20s, just a bit too much for us. If things had been different, it's entirely possible we would have gotten a follow-up to Father of All less than a year after Father of All's release. But the world almost ended, and there really wasn't any good opportunity for new music releases, which was a bummer because boy do we need new music in that twisted and troubled time of 2020. Green Day vaulted up the 7 songs that they had left over from Father of All, one of them being The American Dream Is Killing Me, with different lyrics. And no, 6 of these songs did not become the network songs. And no, Green Day are not the network. And also no, Green Day and the network are not bitter enemies. That's the joke. That's the secret. They're both in on this joke, and I am not, because they are 2 completely different bands that like each other and work with each other. I'm just going to call them out on that right now. Billy Joe, you can call me later. It is what it is. But we got all these world problems happening. Green Day staying 6 feet apart, and Billy Joe entertaining us with No Fun Mondays and solo performances with a lot of gum chewing. I really like the gum chewing. After that and some standalone gold, here comes The Shock and Holy Toledo, Pollyanna, Kiss covers. This is when Green Day reformed and began working on new music, codenamed, or with the production title, 1972. I think they were all pumped about reactivating again with big birthdays and anniversaries, and they didn't realize how stupid a name 1972 was for an EP or an album until later. They had some songs, but were eager to record newer stuff instead of songs that had been laying around gathering dust. Coma City was inspired by real-world events in May of 2020, and probably an early song in the process of recording this EP. Maybe even the first. Think about that. Coma City kind of kicking things off, kind of getting them started, and I can kind of hear it being an early stepping block in getting to where we are now with Saviors. Look Ma No Brains, Fancy Sauce, Living in the 20s, Saviors, 1981. This is a new era for Green Day. New punk rock songs in the bucket. good. But Billy Joe's thinking about 30 years of Dookie, 20 years of American Idiot, and he realized that Green Day have always been about more than punk rock. That's very limiting genre. For Green Day to put out a 6-song EP where all 6 songs kind of sound the same, they really don't sound the same, but Green Day hater ears would certainly hear it like that. Those 6 songs by themselves would not really add to the Green Day legacy all that much. It would be a throwaway EP. It could have been a misstep for the band that had pushed boundaries before. And again, who the F puts out EPs? I can't find that many on Spotify, and it's kind of making me angry. Like, not platypus levels of angry, a little angry. Green Day paint well with a brush of variety, and there needed to be harder moments like they touched on with Living in the 20s. One-Eyed Bastard is laying around, gathering dust. Let's drag him through the mud and put him in there. I'm going to move the camera over here. And back to the anniversary of big albums, there needed to be something interesting in the way that Letterbomb was interesting. This was Billy Joe or Jilly Bo's dilemma. This is turning into a triple EP. We can't let it turn into a triple EP. This was Green Day. Oh no, we're not allowed to make triplets anymore. Ayo! And we're an album band, gosh darn it. We're an album band, gosh, pooping girl in a cemetery and I'll kiss you again. So the songs kept coming. Billy's listening habits go heavy into Britpop and power pop, and those influences stick into the lifeblood of Susie Chapstick, Goodnight Adeline. And you know what's missing in all the variety? Straight up rock and roll. Enter the Corvette Summer, which is a movie that we all really need to watch if we're going to stay Green Day fans. Just admit it, you haven't seen it either. And finally, after that, a boy or girl named Bobby Sox is born. Dookie and American Idiot keep coming into Billy's mind, fertilizing the ideas of Strange Days Are Here to Stay, Father to a Son, and you know what? Other than pooping and peeing, there's nothing that Billy Joe Armstrong likes to write about more than having a fever tonight. Bada bing, bada boom, bada bing, bada boom. Saviors is born. 1972 sounds really stupid, and Black Crowes keep wanting to share titles with Green Day. They have a new song called Bastard in the title, as well as a project called 1972. So I guess Green Day snoozed and loosed on the lame name train. Lame train, name train. Bad color bands, bad color bands. And you, Maroon 5 over there, you're the worst. Oh, and back to American Dream is killing me for a second. Rob Cavallo was being all record label-y and came up to Jilly Bo Leg Week, and he said, I don't hear a single Jilly Bo Leg Week. Like a big anthemic statement that would kick this era off right, because your last few eras haven't really kicked off right. And Billy felt this was the perfect time to revamp the old demo. The American Dream is killing me turned into a completely different song than it started out as, and became elevated, even better than it was before. She's gonna bang her head like 1972, bang her head like 1985.